Hey, everyone. What the hell? Let's just keep running with it. Why not? We were going to do all of our little intro. We were going to end up with the with this. But never mind. Missed it by that much. Missed the intro button and it caught me. But hey, here we are. Let me pull down my microphone here a little bit. It's kind of hot. All righty. Let's see here. Let's microphone's running just a little bit hot. Just like me. A little bit hot. Right. Let me do this. All right, that sounds better. At least it sounds better to me. I don't know how it sounds to you. So, all right, as you can see from the thumbnail, we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot of legal cases. Making the thumbnail reminded me of this episode of Star Trek from the original series, the Mark of Gideon, where Captain Kirk comes down to he thinks he's beaming down to the planet, but there's no record of him actually going to the planet. He ends up going to this overpopulated place, and he thinks he's alone on his ship. And he meets this alien woman who, of course, he makes out with at some point during the show. But also the planet is so overcrowded. Nobody has any privacy. Nobody has any free space or nothing. And so this chick he meets in the hallway of the supposed Enterprise, she's just happy to have a moment of sheer aloneness and privacy. And while they're making out, there's all these faces on the screen behind him. So yeah, I remembered for some reason my thumbnail reminded me of this episode of Star Trek, the original series. But anyway, we can get rid of that. I just wanted to throw that up because I thought it was funny. Anyway, that's us. Let me just kind of mess around here for just a quick second. Boom. All right. Right. Sorry about that. Whoa. We don't need that. We don't need that going. Now that we can hat up like we're supposed to. Good. See, that's the problem though with the. Let's just not hat up. Let's just not do that. The extra blur today. We're doing good with what we've got. All righty. So here we are. Hi everybody. How are we doing? Is it just me or does that face over Jeff's shoulder kind of look like Hunley? That's funny. Kirk spreads his seed far and wide. Yes, he does. If there's no what? Okay. Arno Risnan had to look at that there. Twice. That was kind of fun. I love that episode. Patrick Stewart is my fave. Oh, the four lights. I really actually like the one that I had the background for. Right. I'm kind of looking through here again, just make sure, just catching up because you were all chatty before I got here. Let's see. There was a lot of conversation going on pre-show here. That's kind of unusual. So I like that. Oh yeah. Okay, we'll get to that in just a quick second. Kind of thinking out loud on the fly here. Flux, what's up, Flux? Flux, you've been hiding. Swan Lake Lady in the house. Joe Choice here. Everybody's here. Zeno the Stoic. Ben, how you doing there? It's been good to see you here. It's a nice, cool morning here. I'm amazed after a hot week. Oh, see, right now Korea is in this time of year where you have your choice. Keep the windows shut. It's dry, but it's super hot and stuffy, so you got to keep the air conditioner running 24/7. Or like tonight, open your window. There's a cool-ish breeze blowing through, but it's really super humid, and you get kind of sticky, but you're not really hot. So I just chose to open the window for the first time in just ages. It's weird to feel little cool, but also hot and sticky at the same time. Yeah. I hate this time of year. I really do. I just noticing the goofy surprised look on Jeff's face, and I love it. Which goofy surprised look on my face? Oh, on the thumbnail. Yeah, okay. It's not a surprised look. It's what do you want me to do? Look. I think Jeff look. Hey, I clean up nicely. I clean up quite nicely sometimes. Did Jeff get abducted by aliens? I wish. It would solve a lot of my problems. Hey, Law Nerd family, Knights of Knee, what's up? Does Jeff know? Did Andrew move to Thailand for the Ladyboys? Well, you'll just have to take that up with him. His reasons are his own. Already boomerang, yep. Hey, Adriana, what's up? What in God's name is behind you? We just explained that. Patrick Stewart acting so hard he almost pops a blood vessel. You want to see some really cool stuff? Go back on YouTube and watch young Patrick Stewart, like from the 80s, when he was doing his, a lot of the Shakespearean stuff. There's some really, really, really fascinating interviews with a very young Patrick Stewart about acting and the Shakespearean roles that he's carried on and he's portrayed. I like, all right, I guess we're almost caught up here. You think Kirk bonked one of them pink furry things? The tribbles? Maybe Captain Kirk's a furry. Could be. Who knows? He's probably bonked a lot of things. Bonk, 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 bonk. Hey, there's another Star Trek reference if you get it. Yes, it's Korea moist. It's moist. It is definitely Korea. I've got like this rogue hair that's like tickling me right here on the lip. Cannibal Aliens Flux. My phone updated and the keyboard changed. I don't like it. Oh, I hate when they do that, when it decides that it wants your settings to be different than you want them. All right, we are caught up. So welcome everybody that's here right now. There's 269 of you waiting for these updates. That is fascinating. That is amazing. That is wonderful. But we only have 154 likes, so about 110 of you, 112 of you haven't done your job. Get down there and smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button while you're at it, and that takes us to some of our house cleaning duties for the day, or housekeeping duties. I wish it was a house cleaning duty. Some of our housekeeping duties for today, which is to take that like and subscribe poll. Hit the like button for this stream. Make sure you're subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, I would be honored to have you as a subscribed person here on my channel. We have memberships available if you want to do that, but just hit that subscribe button and then take our like and subscribe poll. I was just curious today. So I said, please hit the like and subscribe button. And the poll is a simple poll. It says, have you ever shared one of my videos? 60% said yes, 40% said no. I'm just curious because, we say like, subscribe, and share. I don't think I've copied and pasted links to videos to people, but I don't think I've ever done like a formal share of the video using like these share. So it's, I was just kind of curious to see if anybody shared any of the videos. So we'll check in on the poll and see how we end up. But right now it's 59% yes and 41% no. So we'll check back in on that. And we've got to start us off again. Super chats will be tonight's, assuming that anybody decides they want to super chat and support the show, which is not required, but always gratefully accepted, graciously appreciated, and guarantees that I read your comment, I address your comment, and we get to it. Super chat, because today is a news update show, so we're going to do this sort of in a style so that they can be uploaded as short form videos later. So while I'm reading the articles, I won't bring up any chats or do any of the regular chats or any of the super chats. But as soon as I finish with a particular story, I'll read some of the super chats that have come in during these show. Again, assuming that there have been actual super chats come in. Lacey Pettit, who's been a member for 7 months, says, my days felt so off while you were on vacay. Hope you had a great time, but so glad you're back. My mornings were in withdrawal, needing vices. Oh, Lacey, you are so sweet, kind, and nice. That is wonderful. I'm glad to be back. This is sort of really the first official back from vacation stream. We've just been doing some Depp Heard catch up things. We did the F at Friday, which last Friday, which was pretty darn epic. Last Friday, the F at Friday stream was pretty fun, and I remember it all. So that's the best kind of F at Friday stream. Successful. I hope you guys that watched it had fun. I had fun with an amazing panel of guests. Go back and watch it. It's worth it. But it's good to be back. This is the first, and we're not going to be doing the Maritime Monday today, of course, because I've just been out of it so long. I wanted to catch up on some of the news stories from the last couple of weeks. We'll get back to Maritime Monday next week. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be doing the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, the Depp v. Heard trial sidebar. Because, when they do the sidebars, you can't hear what's being said between the judge and the counsel for both sides. But we've got the transcripts now for what happened during those sidebars. So we're going to go through each day. We're probably going to do 2 or 3 days each day on the stream. So we could do it a week, could be a little more than a week, maybe about 2 weeks. We're just going to go through day by day, sidebar by sidebar. Some don't mean anything, some are irrelevant, but some are very, very telling. To the point where reading through a lot of them, I'm beginning to wonder how, because we thought Elaine Brederhoff looked really bad during the trial, during the part that was broadcast and streamed. Some of these sidebars, you really have to wonder, has she ever been in a trial before in her life? It's weird. Some of the things that goes on in these sidebars are insane. And she comes out looking even worse than before. It's wild. But so we're gonna cover those day by day, starting tomorrow. So Tuesday and Wednesday we'll do Amber Heard. Thursday we'll be doing O.J. Simpson with Chandler Remington. As always, Friday probably more Debbie Heard, and we'll continue that way until we finish the sidebars. So there we go. And I'm glad to be back, Lacey, and thank you so much for being a member for 7 months. And Jinver with the most awesome profile picture ever has been a member for 11 months. When do I get my next Maritime Monday fix? You'll get that next Monday. Jeff, I implore you to put an end to my withdrawal. You'll get it next Monday. I'm trying to see if I can arrange one of two things. If both of them fall through, we'll just go back to a standard Maritime Monday. There's 2 interviews that I'm trying to lock down. I want to do for next Monday, if possible. One of the 2. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. No spoilers yet. And Bella Stella bringing the first super chat of the night before we get going with our little news roundup. Thank you so much, Bella Stella. I don't have anything witty to say, just saying hello. Well, Bella Stella, well, hello to you too. And thank you so much for the support that you give today and that you've given from day one that you've been involved here. And Eric Folmes has been a member for 5 months. I sleep in a drawer. Okay. You do you, boo. Thank you so much. I promise cannibalism. Just wait. There's a story in here. No spoilers. Just a little teaser. There's a story in here that even Taylor Shabusiness might hear and go, ugh. Yeah. See, Adrian's got the shabiz going. Which again, the Taylor Shabusiness emoji. If you're a member, if you join up to any level of the memberships, you get access to the cool emojis. The newest one created by our emoji guy John Byrne is Taylor Shabusiness's head in a bucket. But yeah, we're gonna have one story tonight that even Shabusiness might go, all right, you just crossed a line. That's how bad this upcoming story is. We do need to get started with first, of course, with the cocktail / whiskey of the day. But before we do that, coming in just under the wire, Nathan C with a $2 super chat. Thanks for being Jeff's member. Post on X and Facebook. X. Oh, just call it Twitter. I refuse to call it X. X is just stupid, especially seeing as how the address is still twitter.com. I just sort of refuse. I refuse to call it X. That's just dumb. And Facebook is still a thing, and there might be some things coming up with me on Facebook in the near future. I'm talking to someone, so we'll see. Right, there we go, folks. That brings us up to date here. Now it's time to jump into our news stories because we got a lot of stories to cover, as you saw from the thumbnails. There is no shortage of stories here. So please, while we're doing that, all right, Booterberries, I'm going to do the first story, damn it. And all right, we'll do this here. And then we'll do Booterberries, and then we'll get to the first story that I swear to God. But about 140 of you haven't done hit the like. And we're going to be pushing the likes and the subscribes because I'm in this damn slump again. I'm in this YouTube slump where we got to 63,700 really, really quickly. From 36 to 63, we doubled in a matter of weeks or a couple of months. And then YouTube is now putting me through this time of testing to make sure I'm worthy of all of you. So we've lost about 200 subscribers over the past month since the end of Shabusiness, but We're so far ahead at the end of the equation. But I'm getting tired of seeing this again every day. Get 25, lose 30. Gain 25 subscribers, lose 30. Gain 25 subscribers, lose 30. So we're always coming out at a deficit every day. And I want to get out of this slump. I hate it. Last time I was in this slump, it lasted 6 weeks. We're coming up on about that 6-week mark. So I want to break through this. I want to break these chains that bind you. The quote journey. So let's hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to kind of be pushing that a little bit today, so bear with me, especially that like button. We've got 388 people here now and 252 likes, 130 if you haven't done your job. Hit that like button. All right. Buddha Berries has said, Jeff, forbid you to leave us again for that long. This time slot was dead air with you and Hayden gone. Hayden and I were having fun together, though, so sorry. And we were having fun hanging together. And adding meme going on the Cringe Van tour. Yeah. So I was gone, Hayden was gone, and Josh Meme Copium was on his Cringe Van tour. We always have Lincoln Kane in the wings. Lincoln Kane, he hung out with us on F It Friday, and we had a lot of fun with him too. It was good to have him around. So let's kind of do what I planned on doing and go back through some of the stories that took place over the past week, 10 days. I'm sure you're familiar with some of them. I mean, you should be, but we'll see. The first story, of course, is where all stories about news and legal things have to start. Our first story, of course, deals with the former and perhaps future president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. He has some legal woes that we're working through here. So I just kind of wanted to just talk about that, just sort of give you a little refresher, a little update, and to kind of keep things going in your head. So let's set our screen here to share the screen. I don't want to be that small. That's what she said, or he said about her. Anyway. Are we going to be able to read that? Yeah, I guess we can read it like that. I hope we can read that. Yeah, we can see that. Cool. Because frankly, the news story is not the most important thing. I'm the most important thing in this stream. So, this is just, we got to put this thing in its place. We'll keep it down there. But I hope you can. All right. So I guess this is how we're going to have our stories for the day. Right. Here we go. All right, today's first story is former President Donald Trump booked and released in the Georgia election case. Again, we all know this. Watching this motorcade was probably second only in viewership to O.J. Simpson's infamous white Bronco slow speed chase along the LA freeways. But this was the story was released here. And Court TV is the source of our issues today, of our news stories today. So they'll be featured prominently up here. We should give them all the credit they deserve. Former President Donald Trump was booked into Fulton County Jail on Thursday, more than a week after he was indicted for a scheme to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. And one thing, the left-wingers that are spearheading this prosecution, these indictments and moving forward to these cases, they are going to make this one of the most iconic and famous images in the history of photography. Trying to remove him. All of their efforts to remove him are only going to enforce his presence there. The booking process for Trump only took minutes. He was reportedly fingerprinted and had a mugshot taken before being released on a $200,000 bond. I wonder if he just paid the whole cash thing. He probably went the bail bond route and spent $20,000 on a bail bond. Trump arrived in Atlanta Thursday evening after a short flight from New Jersey, where he has a home. Upon arriving, Trump was driven to the Fulton County Jail for processing. See, I think this would be really super cool. It's probably not going to happen, but I think it would be awesome if he got the pre-trial effect from Judge Manning. If Judge Manning was assigned to his case, that would be effing awesome. I mean, for all the pretrial stuff. That would be super cool. I would love Judge Manning to handle Trump's case. Can you just imagine old Donald Trump sitting there in court and having Judge Alex Manning doing her pretrial thing with him? That'd be super cool. Anyway, the former president is the 12th defendant. We're up to 18 now in the case to have turned himself in. All of the defendants face at least one count of violating the state's Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act. RICO is a thing. We should do it. We should do a RICO stream. It's one of these powerful tools that can be used very effectively or can be abused very effectively. Essentially, what it means is anyone in a particular group that the government doesn't like, they go, ooh, bad group. Anybody in that group can be held responsible for the crimes of anyone else in that group. It's essentially what it was. The first time RICO has been around for ages and ages, but we didn't see RICO used effectively until, ironically, one of the defendants in this case, Rudy Giuliani, learned how to use RICO to bring down the New York mobs. He brought down the mafia families in the 80s by being the first prosecutor, the first attorney to really understand how RICO can be used to crush these organizations. So one of the people that learned how to effectively use RICO as a tool is now coming under the RICO hammer. Which I think is just kind of a little bit of irony. Any one of the defendants found guilty on that count would be subject to a minimum prison sentence of 5 years. Former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows turned himself in earlier Tuesday. Sup, Mark? I think those are just shadows, but it looks like somebody roughed him up a little bit there for the. Other notable co-defendants who have turned themselves in this week include Rudy Giuliani, who I think was released on $150,000 bail, John Eastman, and Sidney Powell. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has requested that the trial for all 19 defendants begin on October 23rd, 6 weeks from now. Right, like that's going to happen. Yeah, Trump's legal team has opposed that date. The judge overseeing this case will make the final scheduling decision. There's no way. There is no way that this is going to go to trial on October 23rd. But why do you think they wanted to go to trial on October 23rd? Ooh, because 10 days later, elections start. The 2023 elections start. Just a little bit later after this date. Wouldn't that be a win for the Dems if they can sort of preload the voting with this Trump trial and all the Trump baddies right before the 2023 elections? Timing seems a little bit sus to me. The former president is navigating 4 different criminal cases. He was first indicted this year in New York in a hush money payment scheme. That indictment was followed by federal charges in the classified document case. Special counsel Jack Smith also charged Trump with leading a conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. He's maintained his innocence in all of these cases, claiming it's all part of a, quote, witch hunt and an attempt to interfere with the upcoming presidential election. Could be right. Trump is currently the front runner. He's not just the front runner. He is far ahead of even the nearest person speculating about the merest possibility of hoping to possibly be a number 2 candidate. So he is currently the front runner by just light years distance for the Republican nomination for president. Polls show him neck and neck with President Joe Biden in a potential general election rematch. Oh, and dear God, seriously, regardless of what you think about Biden, regardless of what you think about Trump, dear God, America, for the love of all that is holy, are you trying to tell me that those are the 2 most qualified people to run the free world? Those are the 2 best people for the job? Joe Biden or Donald Trump? I will tell you, I have not voted in the last 2 presidential elections for one reason. The candidates suck across the board. And be careful when you vote, because as I said 2 elections ago and last election, America deserves whatever they get from who they elect for the next president of the United States. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah. Well, let's see here. Ooh, what have we got? Let's first hit the chats that came in whilst I was reading about. Let's see, we've got Buddhaberry. We're being thanking for being my member. The Chuggy Show live. What's up, Chuggy Show? Chuggy Show in the house with the $1.99 super chat. Scrunches up nose. Looking around for Maritime Monday. Sniff around here about a week from today, and we'll be back to Maritime Monday. You'll get those maritime. Oh, and speaking of sniffing around and getting maritime scents, one thing we forgot to do was the cocktail of the day, or the whiskey of the day. And frankly, we don't have a cocktail of the day today. I'm not feeling very cocktaily since vacation. I don't know why. I've just sort of been going for the whiskeys, for the tequilas, the mezcals, just straight. So today we should have done this 27 minutes ago. We'll do it now. What do we say? One thing we talked about, Flux, who was here in chat, and I believe I may have seen Chandler Remington here as well. Ozzy's probably sleeping the sleep of the just. But Ozzy, all together and at different times, Flux, Chandler Remington, Ozzy Overlord, and Nick Ricada and I, we shared the Dalmore 18-year scotch that I bought and brought with me just to share, to let everybody have a fantastic whiskey. Today's whiskey of the day. Let's get rid of this here. Let's get rid of the Chuggy Show. Let's get rid of the Chuggy Show. Thank you so much, Chuggy Show. Appreciate that. All right. Today's whiskey, the whiskey of the day today, is the Dalmore 15-year scotch. It's not on the same level as the 18-year scotch, but it is by no means a bad scotch. It is far more affordable than the 18-year scotch, and it's only a 3-year difference. So let's look at this and see what we're getting on the nose. Why did I put that up? Right. Oh, that's got a beautiful bouquet. Like oranges, a little bit of cinnamon, toffee, lots of that sugary, sweety toffee, oak, light raisins, other dark fruits. Let's see how it tastes on the palate. Chocolate, just tons of chocolate and dark fruits. Sherry. It's kind of malty. Like a little malty thing. Maybe like a little burnt kind of Melba toast. More chocolate, coffee, cream. It's not really creamy, but there's like a hint of cream, like a dark roasted coffee with just a few drops of cream in it. That is so good. The Dalmore 15-year single malt scotch from Dalmore. That's the whiskey of the day. And it looks like we are being attacked by a Tank Rat membership bomb. Tank Rat was a huge supporter of last week's Effort Friday. Absolute great human being. He dropped some serious shots on us for fucking Friday, Effort Friday. Sorry, it's still too early. But please, if you're one of the 20 people that just got gifted a Legal Vices membership from Tank Rat, give him a super special thanks for being so generous and supporting this program and allowing you a membership chat. And we'll be doing a membership stream here very soon in the next week or two. Because again, it's been a couple months since we've done one. I know I said I would do one every month, and I'm a bad. We'll get our membership, our members only stream here within a week or two. So, all righty. What do y'all think of that story? Joe Neerman for 2024. I saw that Kurt said that he's up for a presidential run. Yeah, well, she says same thing in UK. I think that's kind of the problem with politics everywhere. The people that are genuinely good, the people that are genuinely knowledgeable, genuinely of good character, want nothing to do with the dirty, filthy, wrestling in the mud with pigs process that you have to go through to get that position. Why would a fine, upstanding person with good morals want to be subjected to the horrors of an election cycle? Drink some water, surprise your liver. Oh, I'm super hydrated. I drink water all dang day. Legal Vice is aged for 18 years in a barrel, right? Yes. Well, this the Dalmore 15, of course, is 15 years in a barrel. It's a Highland whiskey, so you get sort of the lighter, chocolatey, or fruity, or heathery notes than you would from a different region. But yes, cinnamon is good for weight loss. I love cinnamon. Cinnamon bears, cinnamon rolls. They ain't good for weight loss, but I love them. Tank ratty. Oh, and we have Andrew Pegchick. I hope I said that right. Andrew Pegchick. When I turned 21, Dad got me a bottle of Dalmore 12. 18 years later, I still have no idea how to drink scotch. Well, I'm assuming that you've finished the bottle. Really, the great way you want just get in a quiet environment. Get somewhere quiet, get somewhere peaceful, get somewhere rested, somewhere where you don't have a lot of distractions. And you can just focus on relaxing and enjoying. Don't just like slam shots of 18-year or 12-year scotch. Just relax, take some deep breaths, do some breathing exercises just to calm you down from the day. And you know, if you have one of these amazing Glencairn glasses, use them. If you just have a rocks glass, that's the best you can do. Cool. But if you have access to or own one of these Glencairn glasses, absolutely use them, because they were designed by the leading, and I do mean leading, Scotch master blenders around the world. Most notably, Richard Patterson, the nose. You may have seen how to drink whiskey like a boss thing. But yes, the glass, because the bulbous shape, it focuses the nose, the aroma into a denser, smaller space than if you're just in like a giant open rocks glass. But just get your nose in there. Open your mouth. Open your mouth when you breathe through your nose. If you close your mouth and breathe through your nose, you're gonna fry. You're gonna like temporarily paralyze your nasal receptors. I'm sure that's not the scientific word for them, but basically the alcohol is gonna numb your nose, and you won't be able to smell or taste really well. But open your mouth a little bit and just think of what it reminds you of. You know, it's like oranges and toffee and chocolate and cream. Just what are you smelling in there? What does it remind you of? And then take a sip and just coat the entire insides of your mouth. Don't worry about what you taste on the first sip. Just the idea is just to get all the oils, just to coat your inside of your mouth with all of the oils. Some people will say you should hold it in your mouth for 1 second for every year that the scotch is aged. That's hogwash. Just 5-6 seconds. Just swish it around and coat your mouth, and then go in for the second sip. Give it another good smell, and then go in for the second sip of scotch. Then you should really, really feel it start to open up. That's when the chocolate, the dark roasted coffee, the hints of cream. That's when it just all comes rushing through. And every scotch is going to taste different. But that's kind of a good idea. It's kind of just a very little brief tutorial of how to drink scotch. Just relax when you do it. The first time you do it, you're going to go, I taste alcohol. Yeah, but the more you try, the more you practice, the more you play around with it, the more that you're going to be able to get these nuanced flavors, and you're truly going to be able to enjoy your scotch, your bourbon, whatever. And not just not drink to get drunk, but drink to enjoy the flavors. That's my advice to you on how to drink whiskey. Sorry, that was a long thing. Finally, someone asked me something I know about. Forget this law stuff. Someone finally got me in my wheelhouse. All right. That's so good. And I'm going to have to put that way over here so I don't drink any more of it. That is so good. Right. Sniff, sniff. If your toothaches, yeah, it'll sterilize your mouth. It's pretty good. And for those of you that are concerned about weight loss, bourbon, scotch, vodka, gin, all of the spirits, carb-free. You'll get about 70 calories per ounce per 30 milliliters, but 0 carbs. The sugar has been distilled. Oh yeah, I had a bottle of Smokehead Rock Edition that reminded me of the Scottish coast with the sea salt and peat flavors. If you want to get some good stuff, get like Bruichladdich, Octomore, or the Black Art. If you can find the Black Art bottle, it's like $500 a bottle, but it is ridiculously good because they keep them in the barrels. And Ardbeg does it with like the Cory Richards and the Murdaugh. They'll use the barrels that have been close to the walls. They have a seawall. Basically, their rick house where they store their whiskey is literally right on the edge of the ocean. So during the storms and whatnot, the waves will wash up and crash up against the side of their rick house, and then that eventually works its way into the barrels, and you get some of these amazing briny, sea salty scotches from like Ardbeg and Bruichladdich. Good stuff. Sorry, this is turning into a nerd whiskey stream. Well, I'm channeling Camelot. I didn't know I was channeling Camelot. I can't do my Camelot voice here right now, but anyway, Adara the Wholesome, thank you so much for your super chat. What/when is the next trial? I don't know. I think we got to wait for Sarah Boone. We're going to be talking about Sarah Boone here in a bit. We're taking a break from trials, but we'll see. If something interesting crops up, we'll do it. Been a minute since I popped into a stream, lol. Too busy with the war and death of a funny hot dog salesman. Ouch. Bringing the sauce, the hot dog sauce. Wow. That was oddly put, wasn't it? Yeah. Exactly. Whiskey is good for weight loss. Beer, bad. Wine, Whiskey, good. Drink enough and you'll barf. Good way to lose. Oh, don't waste it like that. Don't do that. Had this beautiful bottle that reminded me of turpentine, paint remover, and sewer opener. Wow. Must have been yellow corn or something like that. Right. Hey, don't forget that bourbon ages at almost twice the rate of scotch due to our climate. There's also that, and then the size of the barrels. The Scotch distillers tend to use larger barrels. So the smaller the barrel, the faster something's going to age. So there's lots of different effects, and the climate does change because the climate does a lot of things. Like in the Scottish climes, the oak it breathes. The casks they breathe. When the weather gets hot, they expand, they contract in the cold. But anyway, we're all right. We can talk about this some other time. We'll never get back to the stories if I get going on that. Alrighty. Right. So there we go. Sorry for that little side trip down whiskey nerd alley, but again, somebody asked me something I know about. Right. Okay, well, where are we going to go next? We're going to visit a man and his friend that we haven't seen for a while. Hey, nice. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Great song. Anyway, nice Patty B photography. Bring in the old music hits. We're gonna visit a guy that we haven't seen for a bit, and not just him, one of his friends. And who would that be? Well, that would be convicted killer Alec Murdaugh. Our next story is dealing with convicted killer Alec Murdaugh, who intends to plead guilty in his theft cases. You will remember, if you watch the trial, that he allegedly it's allegedly until he pleads guilty, stole an absolute shit ton of money from literally everybody. Well, it seems like he's gonna be pleading guilty to that. Columbus, South Carolina, convicted murderer and former South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh has agreed to plead guilty to federal charges. He stole millions of dollars from clients, according to court records. If Murdaugh doesn't change his mind before standing in front of a judge on September 21st, 3.5 weeks from now, or 4 weeks from now, it would mark the first time he admits guilt for any crime in court. That is incorrect. If you watch the trial, he already admitted to stealing all of this money, which is why his decision to plead guilty to these theft charges is not a surprise at all. He basically, in an attempt to save himself from life in prison, said, yes, I did all of these other horrible things that you're accusing me of doing, but I didn't do that. He sort of went semi-Meatloaf. But anyway, we won't get off on the Meatloaf song, because if you pay attention to the lyrics, you know what Meatloaf won't do. He would do anything for love, but he won't do a certain few things, and they're all listed right there in the song, so it's no mystery. But yeah, Alex Murdaugh, he gave us the big, I did steal these money, I am a bad person, I did do all these things, but I didn't kill my wife and son. So it's not really the first time he admits to doing it. He's kind of already admitted to doing it. Alex Murdaugh sentenced to life in prison after conviction in double murder trial during his sentencing. This is him during his sentencing. Whisper thin fellow. He was found guilty on March 3rd. It's been a minute. It's been about 6 months, hasn't it? Jeez. Murdaugh, 55. See, I didn't realize he was that young for some reason. He's a year older than me. Fudge. For some reason, I thought he was a lot older than that. I didn't know he was only 55 years old. Wow. That's okay. I'm kind of shocked by that, actually. I thought he was like in his 60s. Huh. Well, Murdaugh, 55, is serving a life sentence for killing his wife and son at their home 2 years ago. But he insisted from the witness stand at his trial that he did not kill them and is appealing his double murder conviction. Prosecutors say he decided to kill them because his millions of dollars of theft was about to be discovered, and he was hoping their deaths would buy him sympathy and time to figure out a cover-up, which I didn't believe for a second. That just makes no sense whatsoever. He's managed to convince everyone. He's been confronted about these missing funds, weird accounting on many, many occasions, and he's been able to talk himself out of it every single time. But we're supposed to believe that he killed his wife and son because someone just brought up, hey, where's my $750,000 that you owe me? Why wouldn't he think he could talk himself out of it? Because he's been talking himself out of all these situations for the last 20 years. Anyway, we're not going to rehash the trial here. That will be something that might happen later down the line. The federal guilty plea would almost certainly bring prison time, keeping Murdaugh behind bars even if his murder conviction appeal was successful. But yeah, not for the rest of his life. He would still be able to get out at some point after serving a lengthy federal prison sentence. Before the killing, state and federal investigators said Murdaugh stole millions from clients who suffered debilitating injuries, who needed money for medical care. He's charged with stealing from his family's law firm and helping run a drug ring to launder money. See, that is what I think happened. Because I think he got in deep with the cartels and they took care of his family. That's the story that sits most believable to me. People go, but why wouldn't the cartel just kill him? You don't. If a guy owes you money and you kill that guy, you never get your money. If you give him an ultimatum and he treats you like a bitch, You take out someone he loves. You take out his wife, you take out his son, and you go, okay, pal, you still owe us the money. Work it out, or you're next. So that to me makes sense that he got in with them. They gave him some sort of ultimatum. He didn't pay them back, and they taught him a lesson. But we'll see. Authorities said he asked a friend to kill him on the side of a lonely highway so his son would get $10 million in life insurance. Yes, that happened. He botched his own murder. He asked a friend to murder him on the side of the road so that Buster would get $10 million life insurance policy, but his friend fucked it up and didn't really shoot it, just kind of grazed him in the head. Dude is he's just bad at life. He's just bad at life. The shot only grazed Murdaugh's head. In federal court, Murdaugh faces 14 counts of money laundering, 5 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of bank fraud. 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Court records didn't indicate whether there was an agreement to drop any charges in exchange for a guilty plea. Each charge carries at least a maximum, that's interesting wording, at least a maximum of 20 years in prison. Some have a maximum 30-year sentence. I guess it's grammatically. Attorneys for Murdaugh didn't comment on Thursday's court filing, but they said after his indictment on 22 federal charges in May that Murdaugh was helping federal investigators and the charges would be quickly resolved without a trial. Helping federal investigators. Hey, people in Murdaugh's law firm, you know what that means, don't you? They're coming after you. Hey, everybody else in Murdaugh's firm, get ready. Here come the feds. He's helping the investigators. The federal allegations are similar to charges Murdaugh still faces in state court. They include stealing about $4 million in insurance settlements meant for the family of Gloria Satterfield, a longtime housekeeper who died when she fell at the Murdaugh's home, according to the indictment. Yes, if you remember, he strung the kids along, and he basically stole the $4 million settlement and told them that they got it was $100,000 or something, and they still never got any of that. So Murdaugh is a flaming pile of shit. He is a horrible human being who deserves to be locked away for an incredibly long time. But I still don't think the prosecutors met their burden of proof him to be found guilty of murdering his wife and son. As big a piece of shit as he is, I don't think they proved that. Longtime friend and now ex-attorney Cory Fleming helped Murdaugh steal the money, investigators said. Fleming was sentenced earlier this month to nearly 4 years in prison after pleading guilty. Well, stand by for some updates on that. Other indictments said Murdaugh and the banker friend Russell Lafitte worked together to take settlement money out of the client's accounts, prosecutors said. Lafitte was convicted in November of 6 wire and bank fraud charges. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison and is appealing. That's a do right there. I never noticed her in court, but that's a do. And Murdaugh is also charged with creating a bank account that had a similar name to a legitimate company that handled settlements to steal money from clients. Again, raving piece of shit, but did he commit the murders? I don't think it was proved. He's currently in protective custody in an undisclosed state prison after being convicted in March of the shooting deaths of his 22-year-old son, Paul, killed with shotgun blasts, and 52-year-old wife, Maggie, who was shot several times with a rifle. Murdaugh is also awaiting trial on around 100 other state charges. Yeah, dude's looking at time. Along with the thefts, they also include insurance fraud, a drug and money laundering ring, tax evasion, and theft. Pre-trial hearing on those charges will likely take place the week before the federal guilty plea would mark Murdaugh's first appearance outside the prison since he was escorted out of the Colton County courtroom in handcuffs, shackles, and a jail jumpsuit on March 3rd. Murdaugh has been seen publicly only once since then in a batch of photos taken by the camera in his prison-issued tablet computer, as the system confirmed his identity so he could use the device to make monitored calls, watch approved entertainment, read books, or take video classes. The photo showed Murdaugh sometimes shirtless. Yeah, those were awkward, weren't they? If you saw those weird shirtless Murdaugh pictures. pasty and lean, and wearing reading glasses in his cell. Prison officials initially released the photos under the state's open records law, but after a brief publicity splash, decided that since the photos were taken for security reasons and not as an official measure, they should not have been released under the Freedom of Information Act. Can't unring that bell. Can't unsee them pasty white nips. Sorry, Murdaugh. We didn't mean to publish those photos, but hey, sorry. Well, there's a second part to this Murdaugh story, and that was just alluded to there at the end of that article. Alex Murdaugh's friend pleads guilty to his second set of charges in Gloria Satterfield case. Again, Gloria Satterfield is the maid who somehow ended up dead at Murdaugh's estate. Convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh's old college buddy has pleaded guilty to a second set of charges for helping the disgraced South Carolina attorney steal millions of dollars of insurance settlements from the sons of Murdaugh's dead housekeeper. Cory Fleming, a 54-year-old former attorney, that's a good way. Stealing money from clients and arranging to allow money to be stolen from clients is literally the fastest way to use your law license. Don't fuck with client money. You do, you're done. Really, really quickly. Wasn't immediately sentenced after his guilty plea to 23 state charges on Wednesday. Prosecutors indicated they would ask at a September hearing that Fleming spend more time in prison than the nearly 4-year sentence he received for similar federal charges earlier this month, according to media reports. During his federal sentencing, Fleming said he knew Murdaugh, now serving a life sentence for killing his wife and son, was going to steal something from the family of his housekeeper. She worked for Murdaugh's family for decades before dying after a fall at their home in 2018. But Fleming said he thought it might be $100,000, not the entire $4 million plus award. And again, it doesn't matter. If you're a lawyer and you steal a dime, you steal 10 cents of your client's money, you are almost certainly going to lose your license. Screwing with client funds is literally the absolute worst. You could do a line of coke off a hooker's naked ass, and they would go, "Oh, we just need to turn you over to Lawyers Helping Lawyers. Deal with addiction. We'll give you, we'll take care of you." You can do horrendous things, but you take $1 of your client's money and you're burned. You're done. Unless Fleming was the dumbest man alive, he knew what all Murdaugh was going to do, Prosecutor Creighton Waters told the judge Wednesday. Yet none of the people involved in this are the sharpest tools in the shed, are they? When Judge Richard Gergel sentenced Fleming to 46 months in prison on the federal charges, he told Fleming he would let the state jury know he didn't think the state charges should carry any more prison time. Well, I think that's up to the state judge. However, South Carolina Circuit Judge Clifton Newman, who sentenced Murdaugh to life after a month-long trial, doesn't have to follow the recommendations of Fleming's September 14th state sentencing. And I don't think the judge is going to be doing it. I mean, I don't think he's going to be following it. He seemed to have one out for Murdaugh. So I'm guessing Murdaugh's friends are going to get more time too. Fleming has surrendered his license to practice law. In other words, he quit before they fired him. He gave up his license before they ripped it from his cold, dead hands. To practice law in both Georgia and South Carolina, saying he's dishonored the profession. I have sinned. Saying he's the second Murdaugh associate ordered to prison since investigators began scrutinizing every aspect of Murdaugh's life in June 2021 after his wife and son were shot to death at their South Carolina home. Banker Russell Lafitte was sentenced to 7 years in prison earlier this month after pleading guilty to helping Murdaugh steal money from settlements for clients after vehicle wrecks or work injuries. Lafitte is appealing his conviction and sentence. While Fleming knew Murdaugh was asking him to do wrong, he said he didn't realize the depths of his old friend's depravity. Murdaugh still faces more than 100 charges in state and federal courts. Prosecutors say the crimes range from tax evasion. We don't have to go through this long list of things again. Even unsuccessfully arranging for someone to kill him so his surviving son can get life insurance. That is still the funniest thing about the trial. Newman plans a hearing on the status of those cases the same day Fleming is sentenced. Yeah, this poor kid. This is the housekeeper's son, Michael. Again, not the brightest of kids, but this poor bastard he just got raw end of every possible stick that could possibly come down. In Fleming's case, the victims were Gloria Satterfield and her two sons. Satterfield cleaned the Murdaugh's house, babysat their son, and did anything else the family asked for more than 20 years. Murdaugh promised the sons, who were young adults, he would take care of them and recommend they hire Fleming as their lawyer. He didn't tell them Fleming was a longtime friend, college roommate, and godfather to one of his sons. Murdaugh told insurance companies that Satterfield tripped over their dogs and convinced them to pay more than $4 million to what they thought was Satterfield's estate through Fleming. But instead, Murdaugh had Fleming send the checks to him. The sons didn't see a dime until Murdaugh's finances began to unravel and they hired a different attorney. The state charges included a second fraud victim. Prosecutors said Fleming helped Murdaugh steal settlement money from a woman badly hurt in a car crash and used his part of the ill-gotten gains to charter a plane to go to the College World Series. Well, isn't that just lovely? That catches us up on Alec Murdaugh and the and associates and friends. Whew, that's a piece of crap human being, but does he deserve the murder conviction? I don't know. He deserves anything else he gets out of this. I mean, whatever else happens to him, he deserves that. But yeah, Adara the Wholesome. The Murdaugh trial. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, by the way. Adara the Wholesome with the $5 super chat says the Murdaugh trial was so sketch. Everything about the trial made me feel like the justice system was broken. Thankfully, Rudolph restored hope. Yeah, the Rudolph trial was kind of a good palate cleanser. We got some good stuff taken care of there. Tank Rat, in addition to the 20 Legal Vices gifted memberships, has given us the $20 super chat. On top of the amazing generosity that Tank Rat showed on the F at Friday stream. The location of the wife's phone made me question his guilt. With GPS location data, still makes no sense. There's so many things about that trial that make no sense. But the jury has spoken, and until it's overturned, that's what we got to work with. The verdict that came down. Like it or love it, hate it or really, really hate it. Not much we can do about it. I don't think his son said chicken, and Alex went guinea fowl, blam, blam. Oh no, that's wrong. Should I do it? Should I? All of my better judgment is telling me not to do it, but I've never been one to follow my better judgment.
That's right. Shop smart. Shop S-smart. You got that?
Sorry, I could not help it. Shame on me. All right. All right. Silent PS says he deserves to be convicted of whatever the state can legitimately prove. Absolutely. Because he is a dirt bag of a human being. He is a legitimate piece of shit. But, prove it. Just prove it. The real question of the Murdaugh trial, how's Buster doing? Buster is probably, why? I hope he's changed his name by now. I would be distancing myself from as much as possible. Great film, yes. This is my Boomstick, legendary movie. More Boomstick. If one of you integrates so much as touches me. That is one of my favorite movies. Army of Dark. And I haven't watched the Evil Dead Rises. I started to watch it on the airplane on my tablet, and I quickly realized that this isn't a movie you watch sitting between two people on an airplane. I mean, the opening scene, chick snaps another girl's neck, goes to the end of a pier, grabs a drone out of the air, drives the drone blades into her face, slices her own face open, jumps into the water after one of the boyfriends, rips his head off, throws it up on the deck. Okay, this probably isn't the movie you watch on an airplane sitting between people. So I've got to watch the Evil Dead Rise. It kind of has the same feeling as the original 3 movies. So we'll have to see how it goes. Ash is a personal hero. All right. The newer Evil Dead movies are, man, right. So like one, two, and Army of Darkness were absolutely great, but the Evil Dead Rises looks like it might be a really good movie. The series is great. I think I watched the first 4 episodes, and for some reason, I mean, not that because it was bad. I think I just got busy or sidetracked, and seeing the Evil Dead Rising on Netflix reminded me, oh, I should probably go back and watch that series. So that's what we're looking at. We currently have 551 viewers. That is super awesome. And 464 likes. That's legitimately really, really good. So thank you so much for hitting that like button. And please do it again. Please get down there and smash that like button. Make sure you've hit the like button. It takes like that long. And it lets YouTube know I'm here and we all have a great time. And also, if you haven't subscribed, I would be just eternally indebted to you if you would be so kind as to hit that subscribe button. And if you already are subscribed or think you might be subscribed, just please double check and make sure you still are, because people are getting unsubscribed in bulk right now. So please do that. And then take our like and subscribe button. Let's see where we are. Simple question. Have you ever shared one of my videos? 51% of you say yes and 49% say no. That's 452 votes. So that's kind of that number's been sort of holding steady there. That's good. All right. I'm just curious. I just want to see if anybody's ever referred my video, just like shared my video with someone. If not, please do. Let more people know about this, because we're having fun here. All 547 people here now, and we're up to 5. We're 7 away from 500 likes. Just get us up to 500 likes. That'll be fun. Evil Dead original, I was 9, and my sister told me it was a Benji movie. No, no. Told me it was a Benji movie. Holy crap. I'm 51 now and still have yet to watch it all the way through. Yeah, I started my son way too early on horror films. I mean, like, 4 is not a great time to be watching graphic horror movies in retrospect. One of them was the original Evil Dead. For some reason, I thought he would find it amusing, like I did. He didn't, and he was scared of the dark for about 10 years after that. Benji the Deadite. Oh, man. Okay, Jeff, I gave you 1 like. Thank you. Great success. I appreciate that. 1 like is awesome. And we're up over 502 likes. So great. Thanks, everybody. That was awesome. You guys rock. Well, what's coming up next? What's the next? Oh my God. Tell me I did not do what I oh God, I thought I closed all of my article windows. That just gave me a little minor heart attack. Well, where are we going next? We're taking a turn for the dark now. Let me adjust the stash here real quick. We didn't wax it up today, so it's a free range law rack stash right now. Got a free range in here. Dalmore 15. Dalmore 15. The 18 is just, I mean, that's just exquisite. It's super expensive. Can be very difficult to find. I wouldn't go there unless you're like an aficionado. But the 15, if you can afford it, is great. The cigar malt is fantastic. They have a King Alexander III. Just like they're great. Dalmore is a fantastic whiskey. But even the 12-year is just some good stuff. Right. Thank you so much. Now we're just on to the 0-calorie ginger ale. It's a long step down from 15-year Dalmore to 0-calorie ginger ale. Oh, yes, it is. All right. Well, what's coming up next? Bryan Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger has been in the news recently for his things. Jeff, hit the button on the side of your mouse. I just about did. About 30 seconds ago. I just about clicked that stupid thing, and yeah, that would have been some cursey words. Corn Pope, what's up, girl? Everyone is different. Yeah. Thanks. Truer words have never been said. Soulless ale. I see what you did there. Right. Okay, let's give some Bryan synthetic sugars. Just drink flavored seltzer water. I already did that. I finished that, and I don't have any more in the fridge. So the only thing left in the fridge was the zero tonic ginger ale. That's normally what I drink if I want something fizzy. I'll drink like a lime flavored soda water. Righty, so let's look at this here. Let's look at the Bryan Kohberger news. There's two stories I wanted to bring up about Mr. Kohberger. Where are we at here? AT, don't make me do it. The priest, the story The Exorcist was based on, was a classmate of my grandfather in St. Louis. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. This isn't The Exorcist, but it's the parody of The Exorcist, but still.
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh, the power of Christ.
The power of Christ compels you
to hit that button. All right. Enough silliness. Let's get back to alleged crimes. With Kohberger, we're still in the alleged crime state. So we have to say allegedly. And again, there's lots of stories about what's going on with Bryan Kohberger, you know, this evidence, that evidence, how it's been presented, you know, everything that's going on. I said, when I watch trials, I try not to get too deeply involved in the pretrial stuff because it means nothing at the end of the day. All of this stuff that's going on in the Bryan Kohberger case right now means nothing. The only things that mean anything in this matter is what happens between the goalposts of the end of opening statements and the beginning of closing arguments. Only the stuff that happens between those two goalposts is relevant to the outcome of the trial. Everything else is just, you know, don't misunderstand me. I love everybody, and everybody else is doing this way better than me. That's involved in the Kohberger stuff. Andrea Burkhardt, Emily D. Baker, Meme Copium, Colonel Kurtz. Everybody that's doing this stuff is doing it way better than I ever could. But it's just kind of nosiness. It's just kind of nosiness. It's like, ooh, what's going on here now? I'm interested in what is proven at trial. If something's excluded, it doesn't matter why it was excluded. If something is allowed in, doesn't matter why it was allowed in. What is the evidence that is presented to the jury? That's always been my focus, and I love that part of watching trials. All the pretrial stuff, it's just noise, right? Or as they said in the show Successions, it's just complicated airflow. But we do have some stories that I wanted to mention because they sort of directly affect how the trial is going to be handled. So I know other people have talked about them, but we'll talk about them anyway. Right. Bryan Kohberger waives right to a speedy trial. I told everybody this from the minute of the indictment. Nobody listened to me. Everybody was sure this thing was going to go to trial in October. And I said, even as late as last week, there's no way in hell this is going to trial in October. I think the lawyer you know is the only other guy that definitively said BS on this thing going to October trial. Because there's just no way. There's just no way it's going to happen. And even at the initial arraignment, when he was asked, his lawyer asked for the farthest date possible to be within the time limits of the speedy trial, which in Idaho is 6 months. You've got 6 months to, if you do not waive your right to a speedy trial, it's 6 months. You have to go to trial within 6 months. And they asked for literally the day 6 months from that point, which is just a good indication they're not going to waive their right to a speedy trial. They want that date there, and then they can delay it if necessary. Well, that's where we are now. Bryan Kohberger has finally waived his right to a speedy trial. Latah County, Idaho, Scripps News, Boise. Bryan Kohberger, charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, will no longer go to trial this fall. In a status hearing Wednesday in Latah County, the defense for Bryan Kohberger formally waived his right to a speedy trial. The trial was set to start on October 2nd with a flurry of deadlines for both the prosecution and the defense in the coming weeks. No new trial date has been set. Now, this is the thing. In Idaho, if you waive your right to a speedy trial, you do not get to go, wait a minute, I changed my mind. I want to go back and I want to exercise my right to a speedy trial. Once it's gone, and you are at the mercy of the court, the judge, the prosecutor, the defense, the court clerk, juries. You're their mercy until there's a magical date somewhere in the future that everybody can agree on works for their schedule. It might be 6 months, it might be 2 years. Or we're looking at like YNW Melly. And by the way, those of you that asked, YNW Melly will probably be the next trial. Because I believe the retrial has to start in October. So YNW Melly may be the next trial we're going to cover. The retrial. But it could, it was 4 years before his first case was heard. So we don't know when Bryan Kohberger's trial will take place. But he can't say, I've been here, a year and there's been no trial. He's waived his right to a speedy trial. Bryan Kohberger is facing first-degree murder charges in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernoodle, and Ethan Chapin in their off-campus home in November 22. Judge John Judge, we like Judge John Judge, who is presiding over the proceedings, confirmed with the defendants that he wants to waive his right, to which Kohberger responded, absolutely. Kohberger has previously requested a stay of proceedings, but had not waived his right to a speedy trial. The prosecution offered no objections, and though stating that it preferred a resolution sooner rather than later, agreed that this was the smartest option. At this time, the defense say they were not prepared to set a new trial date. A hearing will still be held on September 1st, as the defense is prepared to file challenges against the grand jury indictment, which is the next article we're going to talk about, as well as motions regarding cameras in the courtroom and witness instructions. This camera in the courtroom issue has become a thing. This may not be televised because the people that are televising the trial, cough, cough, long crime, cough, cough, court TV, can't keep the fucking cameras off Kohberger. The judge has mentioned it. They still continue to show close-ups of Kohberger, despite being told not to focus on the witnesses. And I'm sure, I am absolutely positive that's what his lawyer is going to be saying. They're not following your instructions, Judge. The cameras in the courtroom can't do what they're being told. They keep focusing on my guy. It's prejudicial. We don't want the cameras here. Those cameras could be ripped like that because the people operating the cameras can't get their shit together and do what the judge says and focus on the witnesses and the lawyers and not focus on Kohberger. That's the only thing they don't have to do. That is literally the one thing that they don't show Kohberger. That's all you have to do. But they can't seem to do that. That frustrates the hell out of me. It's just basically the same rules that were in the Gwyneth Paltrow case. A new trial will be discussed at the September 1st hearing. Kohberger faces the death penalty if convicted. And that leads us to the second Kohberger story, which we will pop up right here. Scrolling. Kohberger attorneys seek dismissal of indictment. Well, we'll read the article, but good luck with that. Latah County, Idaho, Court TV. Lawyers for accused Idaho student killer Bryan Kohberger have filed a motion to dismiss the indictment against their client. Kohberger's defense team is alleging grand jury bias, inadmissible evidence, insufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct, among other things. Defense attorneys also claim prosecutors are withholding exculpatory evidence. Yeah, do not withhold exculpatory evidence. If it comes out later, it's going to be a mistrial and it doesn't look good for you. Prosecutors have until Wednesday, August 30th, that's 2 days from now, to respond to the issues raised by Kohberger's team. There are 24 in total. A motion hearing is set for Friday, September 1st. Kohberger faces 4 charges of first-degree murder. That's like the 8th time they've said that. In the November 13th, 2022 stabbing deaths of Idaho, okay, we got the victims named again. The victims were killed in a rental home on King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Moscow, Idaho. Sorry, been hanging around the Russians too long. Forgot how to pronounce Moscow. That's how we pronounce it out there in Utah and Idaho. It's Moscow, Idaho, not Moscow. That's that commie place over there. Yes, just off campus. According to investigators, a knife sheath with Kohberger's DNA on it was located at the scene underneath Mogen's body. Police allege Kohberger staked out the victim's home dozens of times prior to the murders and also drove by it a few hours after the killings. Before Kohberger's arrest, police identified a white Hyundai Elantra as their suspect's vehicle. Kohberger, whose car was that exact make and model, had been a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, which is less than 10 miles away from the King Road house. Kohberger's attorneys, who maintain he was out driving alone the night of the murders, entered a not guilty, and that's not the greatest defense. That's not the greatest alibi. He was just out driving around the murder house alone with no other witnesses on the night the murders occurred. Not the greatest alibi, but, we'll see. Entered a not guilty plea. May I help you? Car outside. You done? You done? I guess they're done. It was Kohberger's car. Right. Entered a not guilty plea on their client's behalf back in May. Earlier this week, Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial, which means the initial October 2 start date has been postponed indefinitely. At a hearing last Friday, attorneys for Kohberger called multiple expert witnesses in hopes of discrediting DNA evidence. In addition to the murder charges, Kohberger faces a felony burglary count. If convicted, he could face a possible sentence of death. A possible sentence of death by firing squad. Well, that kind of brings us up to date here on Bryan Kohberger. Hey, you honking at me? I'm walking here. It was a great movie. Which, incidentally, that, if you didn't know, was actually an ad lib. That was legitimately a taxi who was doing something, who was being somewhere and doing something that he just did naturally. So that was actually a real taxi driver. Or was it a taxi driver or was it just a regular car? I can't remember. Anyway, it was just a regular car, not part of the movie or script that actually did that. And that was Al Pacino's actual reaction to the situation. It was all ad-libbed. Uh-huh. All right, let's see. We have 0 super chats to get through here, so that makes that a little bit better. Well, I mean, like, bad because there's some super chats, but easier than we don't have to worry about it. I think having cameras on during the courtroom is important. Yes, it is important. But when the judge sets restrictions on don't show this person, don't focus on this person, don't do it. Do what the judge says. The judge isn't saying you have to turn the cameras off. The judge isn't saying you can't have cameras there. The judge is just saying don't keep focusing on the defendant. But they keep focusing on the defendant. And that's the fastest way for a judge to go, all right, I'm done. I've told you guys a million times to stop doing this shit. You're still doing this shit. So, all right, cameras out of the courtroom. That's all it takes. And they should know better than that. Oh, Lady Magdala, morning, no power at home, so I had to find a comfy Starbucks. Well, I'm glad you found a comfy Starbucks and joined us here. The grand jury indictment, what a joke. Well, we're going to hear more about that on Friday and then again on September 1st. So that'll be interesting. Ooh, some of us are still arguing about the Murdaugh trial. That's good. That's saucy engagement. Yeah, taxi. Well, there actually wasn't any of these do not enter signs. Everybody in that scene was actual New Yorkers, because that's what the director liked to do. He would do these really far away shots and just capture people in in the crowd, in their natural environment. It was just a guy driving like a New Yorker, and he's probably going like, holy fuck, was that Al Pacino? What was it? Probably like going, what? Waiting for Guffman. What a great show. vodka is just awesome water. Righto. Guess that catches. Oh, Corn Pope Sled lied about all the evidence. Yeah, sure. There was a slip of the tongue or misremember. Yeah, Murdaugh murder trial was a shady piece of equipment. Flux, hell yeah. Hopefully they can aim. Firing squad, yeah. I've read at times that shit went sideways and the perp bled to death. I've never heard of a firing squad. There may be. I just don't think I've personally heard of one. I think Utah actually was the last one to kill anybody by firing squad. I believe the state of Washington was the last to hang someone, and it wasn't that long ago. Last execution by hanging in the U.S. Yes. It was not Washington State. It was Delaware. Billy Bailey was the last criminal to be hanged in the United States. And that was 1996. It was like less than 30 years ago, 27 years ago. So yeah, the last hanging execution in the States was 1996. Fun fact. Dragon's Treasure in the house. Update. Everyone should buy more tea. And they should. Everyone that has any desire to drink tea or even coffee now should go to thedragonstreasure.com. Why? Because he's got like 60 different teas every month. He's got 2 coffees, which I've darn near finished his 2 coffees that I picked up at Anime Matsuri, where we hung out like bros for about a minute and a half. But yeah, go to thedragonstreasure.com. See what teas he's got there. Loose leaf, tea bags, whatever. If you want him to tea bag, he'll be happy to do that. Delivered right to your door. But when you're ordering the teas from thedragonstreasure.com, make sure you use code VICES. Why would you want to use code VICES? Because you get 10% off. You get 10% off your order. That is a win-win-win situation. It's a win for the tea man because he gets your sale. 2, it's a win for you because you get 10% off. And it's a win for me because I get a 5% kickback, which I can then apply towards more tea. Yum, yum. So win-win-win. Go over there to thedragonstreasure.com, pick up some tea or some coffee, and use code VICES for 10% off. Impromptu grift for both the tea man and me. Yes, he roasts the coffee himself. Like I said, I thought I had the Dio coffee. I didn't. I actually have been drinking the Demon Extract, which is really good. Demon Extract sounds like it should be a really dark roasted, like, dangerously strong coffee, but it's actually a very, very nice, mid-bodied roasted coffee. It's a great coffee. Yeah. Check it out. Try it. Give them a shot. All right. Love the honesty on your kickback when we use your code. Hell yeah. Like I said, it's a win-win-win situation. Nothing to hide that back. You get 10%, and 5% of it goes to the discount he gets to keep, and 5% comes to me, and hey, I buy more tea with it. There you go. Let's just win for everybody. Righty. Well, let's see. Got anything? Nope. I think that kind of catches up on all of the comments here. We've got a few more stories to get through. Let's see, how many stories do we have to get through here? I keep scaring myself that I shut out the stories. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 more stories to get through. But they're all fascinating. Now, one thing about Bryan Kohberger, you may recall, is one of his professors. He kind of had allegedly had a thing about the BTK killer, the bind, torture, kill. Excuse me, I have to. Coughing. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, Bryan Kohberger allegedly had kind of a fascination with the BTK killer. And one of his professors, the weird, creepy lady, can't think of her name. She also sort of seemed to have a BTK fixation. Well, that leads to our next story. Our next story is about the BTK killer. Okay, let's take a look at developments in murders surrounding the BTK killer. This is an odd one. BTK killer's former property searched for clues in unsolved case. Park City, Kansas. Investigators from Osage County in Oklahoma searched the former Park City, Kansas property. Did I say canvas? Park City, Kansas property of BTK killer Dennis Rader in search of possible connections to unsolved cases. Namely, they were looking for possible connections to the 1976 disappearance of Cynthia Kinney. Rader, now 78, is currently serving 10 consecutive life sentences for a 10-victim killing spree that spanned the 1970s through the 1990s. He was arrested in 2005 and entered a guilty plea 10 months after his capture. 2 of the murders Rader admitted to committing took place in the Park City vicinity. Rader's former property is now an empty field that the city owns. The serial killer dubbed himself BTK, which stands for bind, torture, and kill. Rader's daughter, Carrie Rawson, spoke to Court TV about the news of the Kinney investigations. Yeah, how would you like to be this guy's daughter? I feel bad for Carrie. She's talked about this case. She's talked her the BTK case. She's talked about the Bryan Kohberger case. That would suck to have one of the most notorious serial killers in history be your dad. So the latest right now is that there's a 1976 cold case with Cynthia McKinney out of Osage County, Oklahoma. Rawson told Court TV's Matt Johnson. She was a missing person. She went missing from a laundromat, and no one knows what happened to her. And so starting in around January of this year, my dad was contacting other outlets and letting them know that he was being questioned on Cynthia McKinney. Rawson went on to say Rader began contacting news outlets again last spring to tell them that he was being investigated for a possible connection to the 1990 murder of Shauna Garber in Missouri. Rawson, for the record, doesn't feel Gerber's killing fits her dad's MO. My father's a huge narcissist, she continued. He is a sexual, sadistic psychopath and a pathological liar. And he also absolutely loves the attention. But if you'll go back and look in these cases, he's actually saying he didn't do these. And for somebody like my dad, and honestly, Rex Harmon's case, I don't see either of them ever claiming anything they didn't do. Rawson, now 44, was 26 years old when their father was arrested. She has since spoken out publicly about the double life he had unbeknownst to her. She knew him as the church-going Boy Scout leader who walked her down the aisle and was astonished when she learned he'd done things like call the police to brag about his brutal killings before the law eventually caught up with him. Let's see. That's kind of the end of that story. The BTK killer is being investigated for not one, but 2 other possible murders. Interesting. All at the time that the Bryan Kohberger thing is going down. Bush McFadden, come on, keep the personal attacks out. I mean, that's I don't know what's coming back your way, but everybody be nice to everybody. Don't be so mean to each other. Nobody's gonna get banned or timed out for it. Just love each other. Express our diverse opinions without personal attacks. We're better. We're better than that, Bush. You're better. Be great. Nah, there's no block. Nobody's getting blocked. I'm just, as I said, You're the one that I saw. It's just like it's just like mom and dad seeing two kids fighting. I don't know who started it. I just know what I saw. So I'm calling out what I see. Everybody love each other. Just give each other hugs. Hug it out. Come on, hug it out. It's a difference of opinion about a case that neither one of you or me has any control over whatsoever. Just hug it out, guys. Come on. As Flux says, be excellent to each other. Oh, you can block her. Yeah, I don't give a shit if you block her, and I don't give a shit if she blocks you either. But neither one of you should block me because I'm awesome, and you both are awesome, and I love both of you. Can't we all just get along? Let's hug it out. Let's hug it out. Right. We're fighting about Murdaugh, which is the weirdest fucking thing to fight about. Have strong opinions, but be nice to each other. All right. I love both you guys. Why my kids got to fight with each other? Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. Right. I gotta get my stash all organized again here. Jeff needs to open a wellness retreat. Sex therapy. Sex therapy. If I can't start a sex cult, I would open like a sex therapy camp. I'd prefer the sex cult because they get all the action. Anyway, there's a side note for you. All right, let's talk about our next legal update. Do we have any? Nope, we do not have any super chats, but we do have 545 people here and 606 likes. We picked up 100 likes during the last story. Boom, you guys are awesome. I didn't even have to beg for the 600 likes. The 600 is the magic number. That's the number that YouTube seems to like to go, hey, wait a minute. There's some cool stuff going on over there. Let's start directing people there. We like that. Do you remember Agent Owens on the stand holding back tears while Harpootlian wrecked him? I don't specifically remember that, but Mocha Dick Poon like roasting people was awesome. I loved him. I don't remember that specifically, but he again Harpootlian. You know, I like it when lawyers, regardless of which side they're on, do great examinations and cross examinations. Anywho, our next case. The one and only. Oh, just a second here. We cough again. Getting some throat tickles, probably because I keep talking like this. Yeah, we like Dick Harpootlian. It's a great name. Mocha Dick Poon. as Flux named him. Right. All righty then. Let me scroll up to the top of the article here. There we go. I think we're ready to go. Oh, we got one super chat coming in here just under the wire before we started. It's something about Mary. It's something about Mary. Thank you so much for that very, very generous $5 super chat. I know a lot about BTK. BTK kept a meticulous diary even before being a serial killer. If he didn't write it in there, then it didn't happen. Interesting insight. Again, as his daughter said, he was an incredible narcissist. And he and Jeffrey Dahmer are almost unique in the world of serial killers for one reason. The fact that they were completely honest, as far as we understand and believe, completely honest and open with people asking them why they did it. BTK killer is still one of these people that is being studied because he's so free with the information. Like, well, Charles Manson was the same way, but he was also talking out of his ass a lot of the time. Manson was he was the showman. He would say whatever he thought you wanted to hear. But Dahmer and BTK Killer, they would explain their reasoning and how they targeted and what they were thinking and what they were doing, which is a very rare thing to get that sort of insight into a serial killer. And someone offed Jeffrey Dahmer, so we lost that source. And BTK Killer may be one of the very, very few, if not the only serial killer out there that is giving us insight into how, what, and why they do things, which I think is fascinating. Right. So, thank you so much for that super chat. Very, very insightful. Let's look at Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone is back in the news. Her attorney, her sixth attorney, has called it quits. Her sixth attorney. Sarah Boone's attorney withdrawals, recommends she represent herself. This letter, this desire, this submission from her lawyer to the court to be excused as her lawyer. I have never, ever heard of anything like this in my entire 54 years of life and roughly 30 years as a lawyer. I've never heard and never seen anything worded this way. Her lawyer said, due to the irreconcilable differences which have arisen between the undersigned and his client, the undersigned will be unable to effectively and properly continue representing the defendant herein. So basically, we don't see eye to eye. I can't continue to doing this. And then, I've never seen this before. The defendant will not be satisfied with any attorney unless the attorney does not have a caseload and can dedicate his or her time solely to Ms. Boone's case. So that's him basically. She ain't gonna be satisfied with anybody unless she is the only thing on their plate that they devote 24/7 to. She ain't got that money. She doesn't have that luxury. That's like O.J. Simpson levels of money where you can just you can just tell your lawyer, drop everything else you're doing, concentrate on me. She can't afford that. She can't do that. So the undersigned, he explains, because we'll get into the letter here in just a bit, but she was complaining that he wasn't seeing, same thing she's complained about with all of her lawyers. They don't come and see me. The undersigned has been in murder trials over the past 60 days and is presently defending a capital murder case in Lake County, Florida, which absorbs all of his time, including weekends. The best, this is astounding that a lawyer would write this about their client to the judge. This is a guy who has clearly had enough. The best possible avenue is to have the defendant represent herself as no attorney can satisfy her. Lawyers don't say that about their clients, even if they're trying to ditch them. That is brutal. That is brutal for a lawyer to say, look, she's not going to be happy with anyone, and the only way this is ever going to get to trial is if she represents herself, because she ain't gonna be satisfied with anybody. Yes, Lisa Franceschi, I can see you. I see you. You're seen. You're seen. You're loved. You're amongst friends. You're amongst friends, Lisa. We see you. You're seen. I don't know why I was doing that, but I think it's funny. All right. Orlando, Florida, Court TV. The attorney representing a Florida woman charged with murdering her boyfriend, whom she had zipped inside of a suitcase, has asked to withdraw from her case and recommended that his client represent herself. Seriously, lawyers just don't do that. They just don't do that, but this one did. He went there. Sarah Boone is arrested and charged with second-degree murder in the death of her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, or George, as they were calling him, who was found inside a suitcase of the couple's apartment on February 25th, 2020. Boone told police that she and Torres had been drinking and playing a game of hide and seek that went wrong. Torres's cries for help can be heard on a cell phone video Boone recorded during the incident. Boone has gone through a number of attorneys in her case. Her initial attorney, Mauricio Padilla, withdrew from the case in May 2022 and was followed by a series of public defenders who each left the case citing conflicts of interest. Frank Bankowitz was formally named Boone's attorney on July 11th, 2022. Bankowitz filed a motion to withdraw on August 22nd. Dude lasted a month and 10 days, citing irreconcilable differences. The defendant will not be satisfied with any attorney unless said attorney does not have a caseload and can dedicate his or her time solely to Ms. Boone's case, Bankowitz wrote in the courtroom motion. And as we read above, the best possible avenue is to have the defendant represent herself as no attorney can satisfy her. In a number of letters sent to Judge Wayne Wooten, who is overseeing the case, Boone has complained about access to her attorneys, including Bankowitz. I, as Mr. Bankowitz's client, cannot communicate with him via phone due to him still not activating one of two numbers he's given that do not work, and he keeps giving me different reasons why each time I ask to keep trying, Boone wrote in a letter dated August 2nd. This has been ongoing for 13 months and counting. In the letter, Boone asked the judge to communicate with Bankowitz on her behalf. Her message included a letter sent to her from a private investigator who said that he could not proceed with her case unless her attorney contacted the jail on her behalf. What else can I do, Your Honor? It seems my only hope is for a court date, which I am included in, where my attorney's attendance is mandatory, and I can vie for his attention during the minutes beforehand while in the courtroom. I'm sure all of the allowed live cameras could provide footage of me doing so every time. In his motion to withdraw, Bankowitz said that he has been in murder trial for the last 60 days and is currently the attorney representing a defendant charged with capital murder, which absorbs all of his time, including weekends. Boone's trial is currently scheduled for October 2nd. She is being held without bond and faces life in prison if convicted. Well, stand by for that date. She's not going to be going to trial on October 2nd. That ain't happening. Again. Icky person who is presumed innocent unless prosecutors can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she murdered him. And I don't think it's going to be that hard, especially when she's on tape saying, "How do you like that?" And when he's screaming, "Sarah, Sarah," shh. Yeah, it's not going to be that hard to prove her guilty, despite what she thinks. Marv White bringing the $5 super chat heat. Have you read The Journey into Darkness by John Douglas? I have not read Journey into Darkness by John Douglas. At least not that I'm aware of. It sounds like something I would be aware of. John Douglas. Journey into Darkness. Oh, it's Mindhunter. Mindhunter number 2. Why am I rocking back and forth? Like DSP there. I've watched the Mindhunter series on TV. I did like that. I wish they wouldn't have canceled it, because that was the one thing I liked. They were starting to focus on the BTK killer. And I thought that was pretty darn cool. I didn't know it was based on a book. Huh. Well, cool. Now I can read the book. Thank you so much, Marv White. I have not read it, and now I just put it on my book list. Thank you. Psychotic Doll X. So translation, yeah, I don't want to deal with this anymore, and I don't wish this on my fellow attorneys. Said in a very, very explicit way, which we just don't say as lawyers. He just went full nuclear mode. Well, now let's all get settled in here for this next story. Y'all thought I was crazy. I saw some people talking about it on Twitter. You're all wondering what's up with this. Michael Jackson is back in the news. How can Michael Jackson be back in the news, you ask? Well, Michael Jackson's SA lawsuits revived by appeals court. Los Angeles Associated Press. The California Appeals Court on Friday revived lawsuits from two men who allege Michael Jackson SA'd them for years when they were boys. A three-judge panel from California's Second District Court of Appeal found that the lawsuits of Wade Robson and James Safechuck should not have been dismissed by a lower court, and that the men can validly claim that the two Jackson-owned corporations that were named as defendants in the cases had a responsibility to protect them. They'll talk a little bit about what this means later on in this article. So don't panic if you didn't understand a word of that. A new California law that temporarily broadened the scope of SA abuse cases enabled the appeals court to restore them. It is the second time the lawsuits brought by Robson in 2013 and Safechuck the following year have been brought back after dismissal. The two men became more widely known for telling their stories in the 2019 HBO documentary Leaving Neverland. A judge who dismissed the suits in 2021 found that the corporation, because again, he was against the estate and as well as these two production companies, MJJ Productions Inc. and MJJ Ventures Inc. The judge who dismissed the suits in 2021 found that the corporations MJJ Productions Inc. and MJJ Ventures Inc. could not be expected to function like the Boy Scouts or a church where a child in their care could expect their protection. So they're saying, and the reason they gave was because Michael Jackson was he was the sole owner and only shareholder of these two companies. So basically saying it was dismissed because these are two small companies owned by one person. They have one shareholder and one person. And so therefore this company couldn't be expected to function the same as a big organization or a big company would be able to function in protecting the people in their care. Well, the higher court judges disagreed, writing that a corporation that facilitates the SA of children by one of its employees is not excused from an affirmative duty to protect those children merely because it is solely owned by the perpetrator of the abuse. That's some pretty damning wording. Again, that saying is like, look, they're not getting special protection. If a company facilitates the SA of its employees or patrons or whatever, that does they don't get a free pass just because it's a small company owned by one person, especially if that person is the alleged perpetrator. So it doesn't matter the size of the organization or the size of the company that's involved. If it's 1 million people, if they've got 1 million shareholders, or if it's only got one owner and one shareholder, they're still held to the same standard. This affirmative duty to protect the children that come within their purview. They added that it would be perverse to find no duty. That's no duty to protect the children. It would be perverse to find no duty to protect children based on the corporate defendant having only one shareholder. And so we reverse the judgments entered for the corporations. Jonathan Steinsapper, attorney for the Jackson estate, said they were disappointed. Two distinguished trial judges repeatedly dismissed these cases on numerous occasions over the last decade because the law required it, Steinsapper said. In an email to the Associated Press, we remain fully confident that Michael is innocent of these allegations, which are contrary to all credible evidence and independent corroboration, and which were only first made years after Michael's death by men motivated solely by money. Well, let's let a jury decide, shall we? Vince Finaldi, an attorney for Robson and Safechuck, said in an email that they were pleased but not surprised that the court overturned the previous judge's incorrect rulings in these cases, which were against California law and would have set a dangerous precedent that endangered children throughout the state and country. And we eagerly look forward to the trials on the merits. Steinsapper had argued for the defense in July that it does not make sense that employees would be legally required to stop the behavior of their boss. It would require low-level employees to confront their supervisor and call them pedos, Steinsapper said. Holly Boyer, another attorney for Robson and Safechuck, countered that the boys were left alone in the lion's den by the defendant's employees. An affirmative duty to protect and to warn is correct. Steinsapper said evidence that has been gathered in the cases, which have not reached trial, showed that the parents had no expectations of Jackson's employees to act as monitors. They were not looking into Michael Jackson's companies for protection from Michael Jackson, the lawyer argued. But in a concurring opinion issued with Friday's decision, one of the panelists, Associate Justice John Shepard Wiley Jr., wrote that to treat Jackson's wholly owned instrument as different from Jackson himself is to be mesmerized by abstractions. So basically, he's saying that, look, Jackson is the exact same as the company because the companies only have one owner and one shareholder that is Michael Jackson. The company is no different from him. And if you try to set up this false narrative of rights and duties and responsibilities to a company owned by one person and the single shareholder, that's you're mesmerized by abstractions. I tend to agree with the two-judge panel. This is not an alter ego case. This is a same ego case. The judges did not rule on the truth of the allegations themselves. That will be subject to a forthcoming jury trial in Los Angeles. We trusted the truth will ultimately prevail with Michael's vindication yet again, Steinsaper said on Friday. Robson, now a 40-year-old choreographer, met Jackson when he was 5 years old. He went on to appear in 3 Jackson music videos. His lawsuit alleged that Jackson molested him over a 7-year period. Safe Chuck, now 45, said in his suit that he was 9 when he met Jackson while filming a Pepsi commercial. He said Jackson called him often and lavished him with gifts before moving on to SAing him. The Associated Press does not typically name people who say they were victims of SA, but Robson and Safe Chuck have come forward and approved of the use of their identities. The men's lawsuit had already bounced back from a 2017 dismissal when Young threw them out for being beyond the statute of limitations. Jackson's personal estate, the assets he left after his death, was thrown out as a defendant in 2015. So that's an interesting little thing there that cropped up. So their lawsuit against 2 companies solely owned and solely operated by Michael Jackson. That the lawsuit against those 2 companies has been reinstated and will go forward. All right, let's scroll on down here. We're still talking about Sarah Boone there, but he's dead. Well, he's dead, but the company still has assets, and he still has it's still there. Scuzzbags. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Oh, what scuzzbags? Well, we'll have to see. It's gonna be up to a jury to decide. This Michael Jackson lawsuit always been attempts to extort money from him. Well, again, it'll be up to a jury to decide. I wasn't there. I don't know anything. We'll have to let the jury decide. HBO documentaries are awful. By and large, documentaries are all awful, especially nowadays. My heart breaks for the little boy who became Michael Jackson. He deserved much better than he got. Yeah, that's very well put. Yeah. Yeah, I'm over in the other room. I've got a couple of old Jackson 5 albums. Totally different person. Sad. They want more money from the estate. They want money from the estate. Not necessarily more. They just want money. Of course, that's their compensation. That's what they're looking for. They lied about MJ as bad as they do Trump. It's insane. All right. It's kind of interesting, just kind of wood chipper. She's already kind of in the compost heap, I think. They will never see a dime. Again, the merits of their allegations hasn't been discussed yet. That'll be up to a jury at some point, probably years from now. Right now, it's just, can they bring the lawsuit or not? That's all that decision dealt with. Yes, they have the right to bring the lawsuit. Now, that was the finding. Now they can go forward with the lawsuit and try to prove their case. Michael Jackson is not alive to defend himself. The lawsuit against the estate was thrown out. This is a lawsuit against 2 different companies, just companies that happen to be owned and solely operated by Jackson. Legal definition, legal fictions, or what do you say, mesmerized by abstracts, or whatever the hell the judge said. I hope MJ haunts those people. Wow. All right. Well, we have 1, 2, 3 or 4 more quick stories to get through here. Right. Where should we go next? Let's go to my state of Utah, shall we? Our next story involves Cory Richards. We know Cory Richards is the lady from Salt Lake City area who poisoned her husband to death slowly over time. Tried to kill him many times and eventually got him. Well, there's been a development in her case. Cory Richards, no death penalty for Cory Richards, let's try that whole headline all over again. No death penalty for Cory Richards, author accused of killing husband. Salt Lake City Associated Press, prosecutors will not seek the death penalty against a Utah mother who wrote a children's book about coping with grief after her husband's death and is now accused of fatally poisoning him. Cory Richards, right there. Prosecutors say Cory Richards, 33, poisoned Eric Richins, 39, by slipping 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl into a Moscow Mule cocktail she made him last year. After her husband's death, the mother of 3 self-published a children's book titled Are You With Me? About a deceased father wearing angel wings who watched over his sons. She promoted the book on television and radio, describing the book as a way to help children grieve the loss of a loved one. Prosecutors decided not to seek the death penalty after conferring with the victim's father and 2 sisters, according to court filing Friday. Following a June hearing in which Richins' sister-in-law called her desperately greedy and extremely manipulative, a judge has ordered that Richins remain in jail pending trial. Yes, everybody we know would. Prosecutors say Richins planned at length to kill her husband, making financial arrangements and purchasing drugs found in his system after his March 22 death. Richins' attorney pointed out that no drugs were found at the family's home after her husband's death. They've also suggested that a witness, a housekeeper who claims to have sold Richins the drugs, had motivation to lie as she sought leniency in the face of state and federal drug charges. Rats in the street scenes. Richins made major changes to the family estate plans and took out life insurance policies on him, with benefits totaling nearly $2 million, prosecutors allege. Her attorneys countered that the prosecution's case, based on financial motives, proved she was bad at math, not guilty of murder. Maybe she's a lawyer. Richins, meanwhile, is facing a lawsuit seeking over $13 million in damages for alleged financial wrongdoing before and after his death. The lawsuit filed in state court by Katie Richins, the sister of Eric Richins, accuses Cory Richins of taking money from her husband's account, diverting money, intending to pay his taxes, and obtaining a fraudulent loan, among other things, before his death. Well, that's not the only piece of Cory Richins news. So the big takeaway from that is the prosecution will not be seeking the death penalty in her case, which means they'll probably be seeking life without parole. Well, a judge has also ruled that Cory Richards will not benefit from late husband's business. Accused murderer Cory Richards will not benefit from her late husband's business life insurance policy. The court ruled Thursday, so she doesn't get the life insurance policy. Previously, Cory filed a lawsuit against Eric Richins' estate, which included his sister Katie Richins Benson. The lawsuit argued Cory had been kept from property that is legally hers following Eric's death. Cory is facing multiple charges, including criminal homicide in the 2022 death of Eric. Investigators say she killed him. Following his grief, she wrote the book. In the lawsuit, Cory claimed ownership of the family's home and half of Eric's businesses. C&E Stone Masonry, LLC. A prenuptial agreement stated Cory had no right or claim in the business unless Eric predeceased her. So yeah, she gets nothing unless he dies before she does. Cough, cough, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. In which case, his ownership stake would pass to her. So the only way she gets any interest in that company is if he dies before she does. Well, conveniently, he died before she did. Prior to his death, Eric had expressed suspicion that Cory was trying to harm him and assigned his business interest to a living trust. Eric's sister sold half of the business to his work partner for $2 million, which Cory argued should have been paid to her. Well, attorneys were in court Thursday to argue who would control Eric's ownership in C&E stonemasonry. Cory's attorney argued their prenuptial agreement outweighed the living trust, and Eric legally couldn't assign his business interest to the trust. So basically, yeah, he can't assign it to the trust because he's already promised it to her if he dies first. A judge denied both arguments in a partial summary judgment. KTVX reported, great Utah station. The judges said all motions in question would be put on hold until Cory's criminal trial is over. So there you go. She's not getting the death penalty, and she's not getting the benefits of the life insurance policy from that company. There you go. Lots of developments, lots of stuff going on. Now, I promised you all were whinging and moaning and whining and crying about not having cannibalism. Well, stand back. Bush knows what's up. Have you ever done it with, a woman? Wink, nudge, nudge, saying, "Say no more." Great Monty Python skit that. And kudos to you, Bush McFadden, for getting the reference. And anyone else that got it and just didn't comment. No, I'm not saying we've got cannibals here. I'm saying could have, maybe, possibly. We'll just have to find it. Let's see. Super chats, none. We have 0 super chats. Right. At the beginning of the show, if you were still, well, let's check our likes. 534 concurrent viewers here right now. Boom, love y'all. That's super awesome. Concurrent viewers. Concurrent viewers. Thank you. Concurrent viewers. Clean and sober crew. Yum, 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 yum. Cannibals. Sorry, I will never do that again. I promise. I don't know what got into me. I apologize. I got nothing. I never should have done that. I'm ashamed of myself. Shame. I told you at the beginning of the show that there was a case that even Taylor Shabusiness might have gone, I think you crossed a line there. Sonny or Chris, remember for 10 months as clipped. Yeah, this next case is easily a case that Shabusiness might have went, okay, I get the first part, but what the fuck is going on in the rest of this? NPC Vices, unsub, no, bad, unsub, bad, subscribe, thank you, subscribe, members. Anyway, god damn it, I said I was never gonna do that again. All right, here we go. Sorry. It's just so stupid, isn't it? God damn. Ice cream, yum. Ugh. Make it stop. Jeff, I don't think you understand. She put a foot in a chest. Bobby Bologna, I don't think you understand. You may not be aware of this next article. Putting a foot in a chest cavity. Amateur. That's amateur numbers. Lisa, where are the dogs? Yoda is over here on the floor out on the veranda, and Strawberry is over on the bed here looking at me. We just aren't to doggo cam. We haven't released the doggo cam yet, which I hope we don't today because I don't have the doggo cam set up. I'm awaiting a new tripod coming tomorrow morning. So yeah, doggo cam will be on the menu tomorrow. Right, Bobby. Perk up your ears for this next story. Again, this is a story that even Shabusiness might be going, Cue demonetization of stream now. Wife faces at least 60 years in prison for killing husband, chopping him up with an axe, and making her children help move his dismembered body. Yeah. Yep, let's go here. This is the story. There's no backing out now. Yikes. All right. Let's embiggen this slightly. A jury has convicted a wife accused of killing her husband, chopping up his body with an axe, and making her children help hide the body. Thessalonica Allen, 36, was convicted of murdering Randy Allen in their LaPorte, Indiana apartment in August 2021, as Law and Crime previously reported. Allen was believed to have fatally shot her husband while her two children, both of whom were identified as being under the age of 16 at the time, were inside the home. After deliberating for less than 30 minutes, at least it took the business jury longer. They deliberated for less than 30 minutes. The jury convicted Thessalonica Allen of 8 counts: murder, abuse of a corpse, altering a crime scene, 2 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and 2 counts of neglect of a dependent, all felonies, and a misdemeanor count of interference with the reporting of a crime. She faces between 45 and 60 years for the murder conviction. Area Fox affiliate reported that he was helping the defendant's children with their homework, that as he was helping the defendant's children with their homework, Randy Allen noticed a website he believed his wife may have visited and confronted her about it. Honey, what's this website you're visiting? The Thessalonica Allen's 16-year-old son testified at trial that his mother and stepfather were fighting over a social media post that Randy had discovered on her computer, leading him to accuse her of cheating on him. The children reportedly heard a loud bang and ran into the bedroom. An autopsy later determined that Randy Allen had been shot through his arm, the bullet apparently penetrating the right side of his body, striking his spinal cord and leaving him paralyzed. Thessalonica Allen reportedly told her children to ignore her husband. Her husband has been shot through the arm, severed his spinal cord, and the mother's like, nah, just ignore him. No, just ignore him. She told her children to ignore her husband and his pleas for them to call 911 as he lay on the floor bleeding out. Later that night, so he sat there and bled out throughout the entire day, begging for the kids to call 911, and mom going, nah, he's good. Later that night, Thessalonica Allen allegedly woke the children went to sleep with their father paralyzed by a bullet through the spinal column. They still went to sleep. Allegedly woke the 2 children up and told them to help her drag Randy Allen's corpse outside the house and into his car. But the 3 were unable to move the body because it was too heavy. This allegedly led Thessalonica Allen to have the bright idea to resort to even more horrific and grisly tactics to dispose of the body. The children reportedly told detectives that their mother went out the next day and brought back an assortment of cleaning supplies as well as an axe, which she allegedly used to dismember Randy Allen's corpse. She then had the kids help her place the pieces of the dismembered body in a tote bag, chopped dude up with an axe, and made children put the body parts in a tote bag. But it was still reportedly too heavy for them to move. The children allegedly told investigators that their mother said she planned to load Randy Allen's body into his car and drive it to a location in South Bend where she would set it on fire. But the body remained too heavy for the three to move. Police were reportedly notified about the situation by a man who had previously been in a relationship with Thessalonica Allen and who was the father of one of the children. The defendant had reportedly called him asking for help in moving her dead husband's body. The man refused. So literally, she can't move it. She wakes up her two kids and says, help me move the body. They can't move the body. She gets an axe and chops his body up into little pieces, which she makes the children help put inside of a plastic bag, inside of a tote, I guess. It's still too heavy. So now what's she going to do? She can't take it and burn the body like she planned. So she calls one of her baby daddies. She calls the father of one of her sons and presumably says something along the lines of, hey, X, you know what? I just murdered and chopped up the my man Randy here. I just kind of murdered him and chopped him up into little pieces, and we just can't seem to move the body. You want to come on over and give us a hand hiding this chopped up and murdered body of my current boyfriend Randy? Yeah, he very wisely refused. Well, at trial, Thessalonica Allen's lawyer tried to mount a claim of self-defense, alleging that Randy Allen had lunged at her during the fight. Prosecutor said that Thessalonica Allen had lied in order to get a protective order against Randy Allen, and that there were notes showing that the defendant had planned to kill her husband. Don't leave notes. According, just if you're going to do this shit, don't leave notes. According to WXIN, police found a handwritten note in the apartment during a subsequent search. Essentially, a to-do list of tasks apparently related to getting rid of her husband's body. The list, per the WXIN report, included 1. Spray shit in face. Hit him in right knee with hammer. 2. Hit with hammer / stab him. 3. Roll body up in sheets and plastic bags. Ye gods. Allen is scheduled to be sentenced on September 29th, WXIN reported. Yeah, see, I'm thinking even Shabusiness. I mean, I'm not saying this was worse than Shabusiness, but I'm just saying even Shabusiness might go, yeah, you probably crossed the line by asking the boys to help put chopped up bits of the boyfriend into the bag, and then calling one of the baby daddies and going, hey, can you give us a hand over here with the murdered, chopped up corpse? Yeah. Now, there was another case that was weirdly similar to Shabusiness as well, but I couldn't find it. Someone sent it to me, and I couldn't for the life of me find the link, and I couldn't come up with any right keywords that would, but it was something about some woman decapitated a guy that was apparently sleeping with her son's wife. It was a fucked up deal, and I can't find that story for the life of me, because that was pretty horrific as well. Because not only did it involve some shabusinessing, but there was also seemingly some incestuous stuff going. I cannot find the link for the life of me to that news story, because I wanted to add that to the story as well. Yeah. It's never in writing, always in cash, and Jesus Christ, don't have the kids help you. Robert Barnes, probably. No, I didn't promise cannibalism. I said there could have been. She could have licked a knife. If you're going to chop things up and put them in bags and have the kids help, taking a little nibble, taking a little taste, having a little lick, doesn't seem to be too far out of the realm of possibility. But if anybody has the link to that horrific story, please send it to me by Twitter, because I just for the life of me can't find it, and I want to read it. Anyway. One, it's not really a story. It's just kind of, it's such a lame update that I don't even need to read a story about it. Alec Baldwin back in the news. We talked about it briefly a while ago when we were talking about Snow White and Alec Baldwin while he was on vacation. They're considering whether or not to bring charges against him again. Well, the state, New Mexico, has been saying it seems likely that charges may be filed against Alec Baldwin. So they've kind of taken it from we could do it to we maybe probably should do it. So they've just kind of taken a one step up, one step closer to maybe refiling criminal charges against Alec Baldwin. Again, I'm not holding my breath. We'll just have to see. So they're just kind of throwing out some more heat. But that's not the end of the story. We got one last story to get through here. Let's check here. Let's read our super chats. So we're missing a few here. We got the membership from Sonia Chris clipped. We got NPC Vices on sub. We got that. Thank you, Marv White, for that. We have Lisa asking where the dogs are, as I mentioned that. Now they're both over here. Sonia Chris with another $5 super chat. What the actual F? Right. What's wrong with people? This is how the zombie apocalypse is going to start. Right? Kyle Cowden with $4.99, the $5 super chat. RE foot in chest. Overheard after a fire knockdown. Captain Todd. Yes, sir. Captain. We're standing in someone. Ew, it was a murder/arson fire we fought. Ooh. Thanks for the super chat. I was thankful for the super chat, and I'm not so sure. But thank you. Legendary Racing member for 6 months. Don't leave notes, like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more helpful hints by Legal Vices on how to get away with murder. Just nothing. Well, here we are. We've gone 17 minutes over because I just talked too much. But we have one last little brief story to end the day, to end our legal updates and whatnot. And then we'll call it quits and start tomorrow with a different issue. So who is our last story about? Get rid of this here. Let me hide that. Right. Prosecutors drop perjury case against Amber Heard over pet Yorkshire Terriers. This is the Australia incident. And I suggest that you go on over and insist that Aussie Overlord talk about this as much as possible because he knows a lot about this. I would love to have had him on here, but he's probably sleeping. Canberra, Australia. Australian prosecutors dropped a potential criminal case against American actor Amber Heard over allegations that she lied to a court about how her Yorkshire Terriers, Pistol and Boo, came to be smuggled into Australia 8 years ago, the government said Wednesday. Heard and her then husband Johnny Depp became embroiled in a high-profile biosecurity controversy in 2015 when she brought her pets to Australia's Gold Coast, where Depp was filming the 5th movie in the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Australia's Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, a biosecurity watchdog, said the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions decided against prosecuting 37-year-old Heard for allegedly feigning ignorance about the nation's strict quarantine regulations. Prosecution action will not be taken against Heard over allegations related to her sentencing for the Okay, let's try reading that whole paragraph again. Prosecution actions will not be taken against Heard over allegations related to her sentencing for the illegal import of 2 dogs, the department said in a statement. The department had investigated discrepancies between what her lawyer told an Australian court in 2016 when she admitted to smuggling the dogs and testimony given in a London court in 2020 when Depp, now 60, was suing the Sun newspaper for libel over allegations of domestic violence against his former wife. Wait a minute, are we saying that Amber Heard told 2 different stories, one in 2016 and one in 2020? She may have lied? Amber Heard? Never. Heard had pled guilty in 2016 in the South Coast Magistrates Court in Australia to providing a false immigration document. when the couple brought their dogs into Australia in a chartered jet a year earlier. Prosecutors dropped more serious charges that Heard illegally imported the dogs, a potential 10-year prison sentence. The false documentation charge carried a maximum penalty of a year in jail and a fine of more than 10,000 Australian dollars, 7,600 US. Magistrate Bernadette Callahan sentenced Heard instead to a 1-month good behavior bond, under which she would only have to pay a fine of $1,000 Australian if she committed any offense in Australia over the next month. Heard's lawyer, Jeremy Kirk, told the court that his client never meant to lie on her incoming passenger card by failing to declare she had animals with her. In truth, Kirk said, she was simply jet lagged and assumed her assistants had sorted out the paperwork. But a former DEP employee, Kevin Murphy, told London's High Court in 2020 that Heard had been repeatedly warned she was not permitted to bring dogs to Australia, but she insisted and later pressured a staff member to take the blame for breaking quarantine laws. The department told the AP it collaborated with overseas agencies to investigate whether Heard had provided false testimony about her knowledge of Australia's biosecurity laws and whether an employee had falsified a statutory declaration under duress of losing their job. The department had provided prosecutors with a brief of evidence against Heard, but no charges would be laid. When the dogs were discovered in May 2015, following a trip from the couple's rented Gold Coast mansion to a dog grooming business, Depp and Heard complied with the government-imposed 50-hour deadline to fly them back to the United States or have them euthanized. Pistol and Boo became Heard's property when the couple divorced in 2017. Yes! Cool, we have one more story. It's Big Daddy's sister-in-law, member for 5 months. I think the story you were looking for is Devin Michaels. She killed her boyfriend, but was married to his son. I send you a Twitter DM. Yes, you were the person that sent the Twitter DM, and I couldn't find it. All right, so let me see here. There we go. Boom, we got this. There we go. This is horrific too. This is a great way to end. I'm so glad that we got this thing in right under the wire. The last story about the chick chopping up her boyfriend, that was messed up. This story is also messed up. This is messed up in a weird shabusinessy way. That's what. Right. Let me see here. I have to open this up in Edge. This is our final story of the day. Amber Heard isn't our final story of the day. This is our final story of the day. Let's bring it on up. Bring it on up to the east side. And let me adjust the oldie size here. This is the lovely lady over here, Devin Michaels. That is really small print, isn't it? That's better. Very, very large type now. Woman faces murder charge after father of... Now you're going to have to take notes for this story. This requires some thinking, some concentration, and if possible, 3x5 cards pinned to the wall with strings running to the cast of characters. Woman faces murder charge after father of children found decapitated in Henderson home. Las Vegas. A woman faces a murder charge after the father of her children was found decapitated. The father of her children was found decapitated in his Henderson home, according to an arrest report. Devin Michaels, 45, was arrested on August 15th on one charge of open murder. On August 7th, around 8:40 a.m., Henderson police received a call from a woman stating that she found her son, 46-year-old Jonathan Willett, in his bed, and she believed he was dead. So, deceased guy's mom finds him. Again, similar to Shabusiness. When officers arrived, they discovered that Willett's head had been severed from his body and was not in the room. Officers also immediately smelled chemicals, believed to be bleach and ammonia, which appeared to have been applied to the body since smoke was seen coming from it. When officers spoke to the victim's mother, she told them that the last time she saw her son was the previous night around 10 p.m. with his girlfriend, Michaels. Around 1 a.m., the victim's mother came downstairs and saw Michaels in the kitchen washing dishes. Michaels told the victim's mother that Willett was drunk and in bed and that they would be leaving early in the morning to register their kids for school, the report said. The victim's mother went back upstairs without seeing her son. Around 3 a.m., the victim's mother woke up to the sound of the dogs barking. She thought it was unusual, but decided to go back to bed. So at around 8 a.m., the victim's mother came back downstairs to find the dogs locked outside and her son's truck parked outside. She then searched the house for her son and found his body in the bed. When police spoke to Michael, she told them that she did not live with Willett. Okay, here's where we get into the confusing part of the story. When police spoke to Michaels, the defendant, she told them that she did not live with the victim, Willett, but they were in the process of moving in together to make it easy on the kids. However, this move was complicated because Michaels was married and lived with Willett's son. So she was married and living with the victim's son, but she was planning on moving in with Willett, who she was smashing currently. So basically, she's cucking her own husband with her husband's father. So she was smashing her father-in-law and planning on moving in with the father-in-law, but it was complicated because she was still married to the son-in-law. Michael said she did not have an intimate relationship with Willett or his son. Oh, no, of course. And that she was only married due to medical reasons, the report said. She wasn't smashing either of them. She was just married to one and living with them and then wanting to shack up with the other. Willett and his sons were not on good terms. You think like, hey, Dad, are you smashing my wife? You think that might cause a little bit of stress in a father-son relationship? I don't know. It just seems like it might. Willett and his son were not on good terms, and his son was not happy with having to move out so his father could move in, the report said. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a divorce. I'm kicking you to the curb. Get out so your old man can move in with me. In an initial interview with police, Michael said she left Willett's home after speaking with his mother in the kitchen. However, after detectives found Willett's wallet, keys, social security card, and his phone with blood on it in Michael's home, a polygraph test was conducted. During the test, it was determined that Michaels had a significant reaction to a question asking if she participated in the death of Willett, the report said. When asked why she had this reaction, Michael told detectives that Willett was abusive towards her and would have his oldest child take showers in front of him. Just gonna leave that there. She said that on the night of his death, the two were sitting on a bed, and Willett was trying to get her to perform a sexual act on him. She said while he was lying face down, rubbing her back, she grabbed a wooden stick and hit him on the back of the head, causing his arms to go limp. Michaels told police that she didn't want to kill him, but wanted to hurt him enough so that he would have to go to the hospital because she wanted him out of the way so she could figure out what to do with her children, according to police. Michaels never admitted to decapitating Willett, and detectives never specified whether or not his head was located. That's the last story for today. Isn't that nice? That happened in Nevada, Elephant. That's a Nevada story. There you have it, folks. That's our legal news roundup for today. 2.5 hours of nonsense and legal updates. My Lord. Thank you so much to Big Daddy's sister-in-law for getting that link to me so that we could read that for the final story of the day. Oh God, what is wrong? What is wrong with this world? Yeah, thank God she didn't get a chance to decide what to do with her children, right? Oh, JKD Buck reading the same thing into it I was reading into it. He was laying face down, waiting for her to perform an unspecified sex act. I never pegged her for being a killer. Ew. 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 Yeah. Righto, we've got 492 concurrent viewers here and 725 likes. We got another 120 likes during the last couple of stories. That is so awesome. I'm so thankful to you guys. You're super, super great people for showing your support, getting those likes in. Please, if you're one of the 493 here that have not subscribed to my channel, I would beg you. You know, I'm not above begging. I would beg you to subscribe to the channel. I would be honored if you would grace me with the gift of your subscription. I'm trying to get the channel to grow. We're trying to get out of this YouTube slump we're in. Continue to hit that like button, subscribe. And if you are subscribed to me, please just look down there and double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Let's see how our poll for the day ended up. Simple poll. I was just curious. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Have you ever shared one of my videos? 52% of you said yes. And that's 52% of 650 votes. So that's just over 325 votes. 325 of you watching have shared one of my videos. I appreciate that. 48% of you said no. If you're amongst that 48%, I would challenge you just to let people know I'm here. Let them know that we have all kinds of weird shenanigans that we get up to, as well as some serious topics. So next Monday, we'll be back with Maritime Monday. There's 2 different interviews that I'm interested in doing. It. You know, if Plan A falls through, we'll do Plan B. If Plan B falls through, we'll just go back and do a regular Maritime Monday show. So Maritime Monday will return next Monday. Starting tomorrow, we are going to be looking at the Depp v. Heard trial sidebar transcripts. We get to finally find out what they were talking about every time they went to a sidebar. And some of the sidebars are really boring and mundane stuff, but some of them are saucy and spicy and heated. And Elaine Bretterhoff, if it's possible, comes off looking even worse than she did in open court. Again, to the point where I was only semi-rhetorically asking people how she could possibly be a lawyer and whether or not she's actually ever been in a trial before Depp v. Heard. Some of the stuff she says at sidebar are insane, just odd. Right. Folks, that's it. We are here. Time for me to hit the sack. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock here. It's 12:34 a.m. Glad to have you here. Come back tomorrow for the first part 1 of Depp v. Heard sidebar transcript. Let's find out what they said. Mods, as always, thank you from the very, very bottom of my heart for all that you do. Cannot do this without you, mods. You're great. You're just ridiculously cool people. Blessings and super special thanks to all of you. And to you in chat, you, the members of the Legal Vices chat squad, the Vice Squad, as we like to call them, as you like to call yourself. I had nothing to do with it. The Vice Squad is the greatest chat. And once you're here once, you're part of the Vice Squad. Welcome to the coolest chat on the entire internet. Love you guys. Could not do this without you. If you weren't here, I'd have no reason to be here. And thank you so much for all of the kindness and support you've shown me through memberships, through gifted memberships, Tank Rat, for the super chats. It's all so gratefully appreciated. And for those of you on the replay crew, if you watch this, you can also do a super thanks, where you just look down there and there's a little button that allows you to do a super thanks, which is essentially the same as a super chat, but it's not live. But I read all of the super thanks the next day, the next stream I do. So thank you so much, everybody. So happy we're here. I'm so glad we had a very strong showing with right around 600 people max. Currently, we got well over 700 likes. Absolutely a successful stream. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, whatever you do, wherever you are, whoever you're doing it with, and however good it feels, and however many times you plan on repeating it, don't forget to do it while enjoying your legal vices. Lorax saying peace out.